Hello, this is Chapter 1, an introduction to speech communication. My name is James Arroyo, and this is an online class. So, let's go ahead and begin and talk about communication. Communication is not just talking, but also listening, but it is a lot more complicated than that. And as we start to develop a better understanding of communication as a whole, we will then be able to apply it not only to situations that are relevant to outside of the classroom, but also we'll be able to tie it to public speaking situations, which be we will be running into throughout this class. So let's begin. So we start with what is communication? Communication is an interactive process of sharing symbols in order to construct meaning. Let's break that down a little bit. First, it is an interactive process, meaning what that there is a constant interaction and it's not just this person says something and then I receive it and then I send it back. It is far more interactive than that, and even as someone is communicating, the other person is responding. It is also a process that throughout a communication situation we will be consistently communicating with each other, and that what one communication situation will do, or sorry, what happens in one communication situation may also happen in a different communicate will also affect a different communication situation. And lastly, there are symbols. What is the difference between the word the, chair, desk, lamp, pool, tree? All of them are, in essence, abstract and ambiguous in their meaning. But it is the meaning that we put onto them that is what gives those things meaning. Frankly, the difference between these physically is just how the sound waves hit the air slightly differently. So we use these symbols to construct meaning. That is the grand idea of what communication is, but to better understand that, we have to put it into models. We started at first, back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the earth, that there was this linear model of communication, that a sender has a message and then sends that message to a receiver. This leaves a lot out, and that will be best exemplified through this, which is the competent communication model. Not only does a person send a message through a channel, hi, my name is James, how are you? At that point, I have put all of these symbols together, and with these symbols, I have used a code of English and have sent that through a channel. This could be either face to face, or this can be through a video situation like we have right now. Then, so I have again encoded this message by putting all these symbols together. These symbols have meaning because of the code we use. And I have sent this message through the channel of face to face. Talking about encoding the message, now I've sent it, now you have to decode the message. And you gain meaning through that through the different cognitions that you have about those symbols. Me personally, I have a symbolic meaning for the word snow. I think Christmas, I think snowball fights, I think snowmen, I think fun. However, someone who maybe lives in the snow may have a very distinct, a different meaning for snow. They may say, oh, snow, pain in the behind. I have to clean it every day. I have to take it off of my car. I have to take it off of my roof. I have to clear out my driveway so that I can get to work. Working so that I have to get to work, the worst. So then you have all these meanings for it. Then as you are listening to me, there is another step. You then communicate, prepare feedback. It is showing how you are receiving the message. It can be as simple, or it usually is as subtle as, if I didn't hear you, something as subtle as a small facial gesture can communicate a message that maybe I didn't understand you. But then, once you've received it and you've given that prepare feedback in some way, what happens if someone provides no prepare feedback? Has anyone been in an interview when they have had an interviewer give them zero feedback? This can actually be incredibly anxiety reducing or increasing because you don't know where you stand with the interviewer. So even when we are not, quote unquote, giving prepare feedback, we still are. Think too, a public speaking situation. If everyone is not responding to how you're communicating, not responding to your public speech, that could be very anxiety increasing as well. But that's not what we're going to do in this class. So then, once all that's happened, you then send the message back, and then it's my turn to decode the message and all that fun stuff. There are 3 more parts to this: the situation, relationship, and culture. Let's say that, let's start with relational context. Let's say that I am, you know, that you and me, we are strangers. And the very first time I meet you, I go to give you a hug. This is a message that is sent through the channel, because not only is it verbal communication, the words we say, but the nonverbal communication of how we say it or the behaviors that we do while we're saying it. So if I come to give you a hug, will you rightfully be a little bit, um, would it feel awkward? 100%. Probably for me as well, because we have not built a relational context. The relationship changes the meanings of the symbols of the communication. In the same way, the situation does this as well. If I talk very, very loud at a monster truck rally or at a football game or at a music event or a party, that is totally fine. Whereas if I do the same behavior at a library, at a funeral, at a movie, then of course that's going to change the meaning of the message as well. And then lastly, cultural context. Culture also shapes the meaning. Has anyone ever walked into someone's house and they tell you to take off their shoes? A big reason for that is because perhaps it could be due to a cultural difference that changes the meaning of what it means to leave your shoes on. It could be seen as something that is rude or not, depending on the culture. Now let's jump. So now that we have a better understanding of what public speaking is communication is as a whole, we are now going to create similarities between communication and public speaking. Some of the similarities include that we organize our thoughts logically. How do you tell a story? Do you go from the end to the beginning to the middle? Probably not. In fact, you've probably gone beginning, middle, and end and not Tarantino'd it. We also tailor our message to the audience. What are some of the things that we say to our friends? What are some of the things we say to our parents, to our priest or whatever, or our young nephews? If you say that you are saying the exact same thing to all of those different people, then and that would communicate that relational context is not really accounted for, and there may be some miscommunications there. And we also tell a story for maximum impact. We learn this at a very young age. We do this. If anyone's ever heard a story from a very young child, frankly, it goes from nothing to nothing to nothing to nothing to nothing. They will just ramble on about nothing, but eventually they will hit something that is hilarious. And then at that point, they understand through the prepare feedback that I've given that thing was in fact funny. So we consistently learn what things will have impact and what things won't have impact based on the feedback that is given to us. This is something that we can very much leverage in a public speaking situation. If I say something that is incredibly impactful, how do you think that audience is going to respond? They may go, lean a little forward. And then at that point, then I can continue doing things like that. And we adapt to our listeners' feedback. Now, let's talk about the differences between public speaking and communication. The difference is that public speaking is more highly structured, meaning that it is very much organized. The reason for this is because if we are communicating and someone doesn't understand what I say, then they can simply ask, "What did you mean by that?" Whereas with a public speaking situation, we do not have this luxury. The audience has to get it at the first time that they hear it. Public speaking also requires more formal language. The reason why is because the situation is more formal. By virtue that a ton of people came to see me speak, this communicates importance of what I have to say. So if I say, "Sup, bro, yeah, it apparently, yeah, so really sucks that this guy died, and we'll really miss him, I guess." That doesn't reflect the importance of this situation. So the audience may have a negative attribution, a negative meaning for what I had to say there. And public speaking requires a different method of delivery. With everyday communication, I can mumble, I can be quiet. I don't have to be incredibly loud or use a lot of pitch variation. I just don't need to do that. And a big reason for that is because you can simply hear me right here. But with public speaking, we have to grab the audience's attention, and so it does require a different method of delivery. So are they more similar or are they more different? And why? Oh, okay, I'll answer. So, a big reason for why I feel like they are more similar because they are all public speaking is communication. But the big reason why they are different is because we have a symbolic meaning that they are different. And a big reason for that is because of public speaking anxiety. We put this public speaking communication situation as something that is anxiety inducing and maybe horrible, but it is just everyday communication. In fact, public speaking or effective public speaking emulates the best qualities of everyday communication. It is authentic, it is clear, it is organized, it is formal, it is engaging. So we really want to be sure that that when we put it in the same light as everyday communication, it makes it a little bit less anxiety creating. So why learn about public speaking? There are many benefits to learning about public speaking. First, the personal benefits. When you are talking about something, you start to learn more about it. In informative and persuasive speeches, we are going to be learning about things that we are incredibly passionate about, and we are going to show provide this new information to the audience. Stuff that maybe even we didn't know. So we will start learning about these things too. Also, we will develop our critical thinking skills because with when we communicate information, we understand that information needs to be cited, that information needs to be reasoned and well thought out and organized. So when others do not meet this expectation, then it will then we will critically reject these less than reasonable claims that are being produced by this person or whatever. We also have professional benefits. Which job requires no communication skills? There are zero jobs that that require zero communication skills. So, when we learn how to communicate our ideas to a public, we are also learning how to adapt to an audience, how to inform an audience effectively, how to persuade an audience, how to impact emotionally an audience. And these are all things that can also be translated into everyday communication situations. And I'm sure that we've all met people who maybe lack some of these communication skills, and that can be a detriment to our professional growth, our career growth. There are also academic benefits. Guess what? I'm sure that this isn't going to be the last class where you're going to be doing public speaking. And those other classes are not quote unquote grading you on your public speaking skills, but they will be grading you on how clearly you're communicating your message or whether or not they can even understand your message. So it will be a benefit in your academics to learn more how to be effective in public speaking. And then there is a public benefit. When we are better able to reason, to rationalize, and to communicate our ideas in an effective manner, it will allow us to influence those around us in a positive way so that they will be able to better understand their reality, their social reality, so that they will be able to make more informed decisions based on the information that you have presented them. All of these are benefits of public speaking, and this is why we should learn more about public speaking and continue watching these videos. This has been the first part of chapter 1. Have a great rest of your day.